Good morning and welcome to another We Wonder. And let me tell you, it's coming off of a tremendous year, a record-breaking year for us at WizeHire. I tell people all the time, this is definitely from a model perspective, from a carrier access perspective, from a culture perspective, the number one, growing brand in the United States for insurance. No doubt about it. And frankly, I think it is the future of insurance because people think they want to have a lot of carrier access. They want to have a lot of choices and get the right solution for themselves and their families. This is it, right? But what happens during that process, right? We're coming off a brand new year. You have, over 50 new folks that just joined up in 2020. What was the number one question you think I got? The number one question I get is, how do I hire someone? Where do I find a producer? What do I pay them? I mean, these are the questions that you get right away because that's the stumbling block, right? I know a lot about it, or I'm an individual producer and I want to add and grow a team, or I'm buying this as a real estate company, a financial planning firm. I'm life and health, and I want to hire somebody just to do the property and casualty. Where do I find that person? What do I do? How much do I pay them? It seems very spooky and complicated. Well, today we have a gentleman joining us, Mark LaPlume. Mark, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. Well, today we have Mark joining us. I believe you're in Louisiana. I'm coming to you live from Denver, Colorado. And just like everybody else, we're working still remotely as much as we can. And so you, sir, work for WizeHire, and we use you quite heavily internally to help a lot of our agency owners. And I would love for you to explain to everybody here kind of we talk a little bit about best practices on hiring and what WizeHire is. And of course, why WizeHire versus something else. So tell us a little bit about Mark.
Well, I appreciate you first for having me on here. What WizeHire is basically is an online recruiting service. We have we've put things together that make your life a lot easier. We want to help you with everything from your job description all the way to compensation. We have some of the best hiring coaches in the business. Basically, we want to take the weight off of your shoulders, make everything as easy as possible for you so that you can get that top talent.
Well, let me tell you, that's kind of how we operate as well, right? That's kind of how WizeHire operates. We put everything in place to make it as easy for you to grow your business. And again, WizeHire does that. So let's talk about that a little bit. So why use WizeHire versus some of the other major sites out there? You've heard of Indeed or, Old Days Monsters or something. What exactly do you guys do to help make this happen for folks?
Well, first of all, we use all of those top platforms. So we are a star partner with Indeed. We use ZipRecruiter, Monster, Glassdoor. We can actually get you on LinkedIn jobs. We can get you on Facebook jobs. And that's some of the things that we do. We start you with a quality job description because job description is key in finding that top talent. And some of our job descriptions, we like to call them proven job descriptions because we've made them SEO ready. And we've done something called DISC optimized them. So DISC, if you don't mind, we'll just say a little something about that.
Let's do it.
DISC is our personality profile. One of our co-founders, Jay Niblick, is actually the author of DISC Plus. So we use that in the hiring process by asking every single person to take it. Now, what it is, if you're not familiar with it, it's a personality profile that looks at the 4 behavioral characteristics. It also looks at the 7 motivators. And those 2 things are key in predicting what type of fit that person is going to be for the role that you're hiring for. So when I say we've DISC optimized these job descriptions, we've actually put keywords and phrases in them that resonate with the personalities of the people that you're looking for. So if you're a salesperson and you read a sales ad, it resonates with you and you're more likely to apply for it. So that's what we start you off.
That's great. I can tell you just in my own experience, I've used DISC profile, obviously in a hiring process myself across multiple different companies in the past. And I've taken it numerous times. If you're in sales, so that looks like we have a little time out, so we're back. But yeah, so the DISC profile is fantastic. And again, the fact that you guys incorporate that in there is wonderful as well, because that's very helpful, I'm sure, on the hiring side, but also getting the right candidates to apply. But if I heard you correctly, you're basically the one-stop shop where you put it across all the platforms.
We are. We have over 60 plus job boards that we submit to, and if you look at it this way, it's like ZipRecruiter says they submit to over 100. Well, we submit to ZipRecruiter, so you get those 100 also. So on and on and on. And what makes us unique about this is, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, that Indeed works like Google. They're both aggregators. Mm-hmm. So Indeed can see all the job boards that you're on. So because we put you on so many job boards, you can go up organically higher on the job board with Indeed through us than you can sometimes, even if you sponsor with Indeed. So it's a good fit.
That is fantastic. And so you said there was two things when you're talking about best practices there. You started mentioning, kind of the job description. And the second one I had down was kind of the market, like very specific to a market.
Right. We go by the same thing the job boards do, and that's the metropolitan statistical markets, which usually are about a 30 to 35 mile radius around the city and state that you put in there. So if you're in a great market with a great job ad, you can definitely look to get some really nice applicants coming in.
Well, that's what's helped us in the past, finding those right, insurance producers. So that's great. And again, we love that aspect of it. Well, tell me, you mentioned this just a touch, right? You mentioned it just a touch a second ago. Coaches. This is something I think is unique. People would not be aware of this. Most of the time, it's your internal HR and resources for recruiting that you're trying to figure out what kind of job description, what do I do? Tell us about your coaches.
Well, we have 17 of the most phenomenal coaches that you'll ever want to work with. They're very hands-on. They high-touch coaches. What they do is they're there to advise, basically to advise you. They can help you with everything going over your job description. They can help you with compensation. Say you want to know how much a producer makes in New Orleans, Louisiana. Mm-hmm. They can give you a very specific range, either hourly or annually. So they're there to help you if you get stuck inside the system at any time. With anything like that, like a really, like a coach, basically. They can coach you through anything.
So you're not operating by yourself. That's the great part about this. That's what I love about it. And what you said right there is probably the most important aspect of it. If you know kind of what people are in the range currently, you can be either a little bit of the high end or at least on the mark. You're not guessing. You're not saying, well, I wonder what someone gets paid in this market. Let's just put an ad out and then tell them we'll pay them later. I know exactly what people are getting paid in these markets. And so I want to get the right person. So I'm going to offer this amount of money. I'll have this many more candidates to choose from. That just makes it just that much more efficient in the process.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. I love having the coaches available to us. One other aspect I know that internally we use quite heavily is the dashboard. Tell us a little bit about the dashboard.
Well, we're pretty proud of ours. We just got nominated, or we just got awarded #1 ATS applicant tracking system in the world by Gartner about 4 months ago. So we're really proud about that. And it's a really neat system because you can customize it. And it's something that customizes in seconds. It's not something that you have to spend hours to customize. When you start, you have 6 generic stages. First one being applied. That's where all your candidates come in. You have hired and disqualified, which you can't change, but everything in between you can customize. So if the first thing you do with the applicant is qualify them, name that first stage qualified. Second thing is a phone screen, name it phone screen. Basically what you're doing is dragging and dropping each candidate from one stage to the next till you either get them to hired or disqualified. So it makes it easy and you know where everybody is in your hiring process.
That's fantastic. And again, not everyone operates like this, especially if you're a smaller business owner and you just want to get in there yourself. You might be writing some notes. You might call a few people. You might put up an ad somewhere and then cross your fingers and hope you get the right person walking in the door. This eliminates a lot of that and creates that professional element, the tracking, and get the right person for the right role at the right price. And, like I've mentioned before, we use you very heavily on the WizeHire side to find the right producers for our offices. It takes a lot of the guesswork out, frankly. Mm-hmm. And again, as I mentioned in the beginning, that's one of our #1 questions. Who do I hire? How much do I pay them? Right? And where do I find them? And so this really eliminates that guesswork and makes it that much easier for all of our agency owners and our new franchise owners. So that is fantastic. Well, Mark, I did have a final question for you here. Let me ask you, again, any tips and tricks for folks out there when they're sitting there talking, thinking to themselves, okay, I'm going to use WizeHire. But, we mentioned a little bit about having, the right job descriptions, again, working with the coaches, having the right market information and being able to be very specific for that market. Any other tips and tricks? I mean, I know it's beginning of the year. A lot of people are making changes. How do we get in front of the right folks?
Well, first thing, like I said, that job description. And look, you don't even have to sign up for WizeHire to see those. Just go to our website at WizeHire.com. Go to resources, look under job descriptions, and you'll get the full job description right there that you can edit yourself. We also put the national average for compensation on each one of those job descriptions. So we're gonna give you all that information up front. One of the key things to being successful with our system is once every 28 days or so, make sure if the system tells you it's time to refresh your job, refresh it. One of the cool things about using our job descriptions is that we have a one-click refresh. It takes seconds to do that. And then that moves you from where you are on the job board right back up to where you started. And the third, just rely on our coaches. Utilize them as much as you need to. They're there to help you.
That's fantastic. And again, we've had a tremendous amount of success. And, with our growth now into 15 states, we have a larger need every day as we go forward in different markets. And this has been invaluable. So, Mark, I just want to say thank you for joining us this morning for another fantastic We Wonder. This was Chris Pfluger, the Chief Revenue Officer here, bringing you some more invaluable information on how to get that producer into your office. So, Mark, thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, Chris.